Welcome to the Rolex TP52 World Championship. We have 10 boats racing. It's the latest we've ever raced a World Championship in November on the Bay of Palma. Really anything could happen in terms of weather. It's the closest fleet we've ever had. 10 boats racing, but 5 or 6 of them have a good chance of winning the World Championship. And it's also the pinnacle event of the season, the decider who will win the 52 Super Series 2021. We have live streaming every day, all the action from the race course. Join us. Well, indeed, we have had live streaming every day, a great asset for the 52 Super Series. It's been a fantastic week. Unfortunately, today is pretty breezy. I'm joined by Maria, our principal race officer. Maria, what's the plan today?
The plan, we have finished with the season. We have displayed AP over A. It means that we are not racing anymore this season.
It was pretty breezy, and you had a team out on the water from early doors.
Yeah, we had the forecast that was saying it was really, really windy, but we wanted to be certain that that was right. And yes, not wrong at all.
And what's your assessment of the season then? It's been a pretty intense season, has it? A lot of pressure for you all the way through.
Yeah, it has been intense. Unfortunately, we have not raced a lot. We were very unlucky with the conditions in places where we normally race good racing. Then was very unlucky.
And what's the plan for next year? Without giving too much away, but I mean, we've got a fantastic circuit planned for next year.
Yes, we are going to travel to 5 different places, very nice ones. Let's hope the forecast helps.
And what's your plan through the winter then? What are you going to be doing? Recovering?
Yes, I will spend the time with my family, yes.
Good, well, great job, Maria. Fantastic all the way through. Well done.
Thank you.
So that's Maria, our principal race officer, confirming we're not going racing today. And of course, that does mean we have champions in Takashi Akura's sled team. We're going to have them in just a few seconds. But let's look back to see how the championships, the World Championship, Rolex TP52 World Championship, and the 52 Super Series 2021 title was won yesterday. So gusty offshore breeze at the start of race 7. Pressure's all on the start line. A pretty even start. Off the pin end of the line, we have Gladiator and Phoenix going well. And then up the early part of the beat, and the left is strong initially. But Quantum, for the first time, really pushing the corners and come up from the right to lead round the top mark. A good lead for Quantum with Phoenix and Sled not too far behind. Then down the first run, great conditions. Full surfing mode, Quantum leading, Brennersek in the mix, but through the leeward gate it's a clear lead for Quantum, looking good for them all the time. And up the second beat, well, Sled are chasing through the leeward gate. Up the second beat, it is looking good for Quantum. The breeze is shifting on the flanks. Certainly the edges are strongest, and up this second beat, well, actually Phoenix come in from the left with a left-hand shift, get right back into Quantum, and things looking good for Phoenix's challenge. Brennersek not too far behind. And then down the final run, well, Quantum have moved ahead, but Phoenix pushing all the time. Only 50 or 60 metres in it, then big gust, and the Phoenix kite blows up just at the wrong moment. Quantum managed to sail clear and extend their lead to win. All this time, Phoenix with no kite at all, losing places, losing their chances of the Regatta title and the world title at the moment as they come through the line. In 6th place with no kite, Gladiator coming through just ahead of them, and Interlodge. Well, the offshore breeze much the same for start of race 8. Phoenix unfortunately pushing the risk too hard and they're over the line, have to recross. Good start from Quantum Racing in the meantime. Allegra step clear early on, leading Quantum. Allegra well settled on this first beat, leading around the top mark from Sled and Quantum Racing. Then it's close behind them, a little bit of a mix up in the top mark, and that allows the top 3 boats to get well clear down the first run. Sled leading on that left mark with Quantum Racing chasing Allegra. Allegra's dropped not so tidy. But up the second beat, a little bit too conservative for the defending world champions platoon. They're in 4th but lose a couple of places by going up the middle of the course. A big lead round the top mark for Sled. Quantum Racing in good shape, coming round in second, maintaining their challenge, but Platoon have lost a couple of places and they're forced to play catch up down this second run. Have to try and make some places, but a good second run as well for Phoenix. They're on the charge, but through the finish line it's Sled, Quantum Racing coming through for second, and you see the emotion. Terry Hutchison punching the air, success for them as best they can. Through the finish line, Allegra come through, and Phoenix making a little bit of a gain, but a little bit too late for them. And disappointment then for Harmler Spreer and the German team coming through the finish line. Well, there we go, our sled team, the victors, the double champions. So let's look at the standings. First of all, we have sled there, the world champions on 30 points, winning by just one single point from Quantum Racing and Platoon. In second and third there on tiebreaker, of course. Then Phoenix in fourth on 32 points, then down to Allegra 42, Brunasek 43, 53 for Interlodge, 54 for Provezza, Gladiator on 59 and Code Zero on 66. And then let's look at the circuit standings for 2021. We only did the 3 regattas, super intense in the end, and look at it, incredibly close. Sled winning on 74 points, 1 point behind our Quantum Racing, and 1 point behind them our Platoon. Phoenix in fourth, Allegra fifth, Brunasek 6th, Provezza 7th, Interlodge 8th, and Gladiator 9th. So, as I said, we have the champions with us in the studio. You guys are still sober, I hope?
We'll work on that a little bit later on.
But I mean, yeah, how do you feel? It's been such an intense championship, and you guys came out on top by the smallest of margins. Murray, tell us.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you say, it was close all the way through. At the end of each day, it was 1 point here or there between the first 3 or 4 boats, and we were just in a fortunate position that we had a 1 point lead after yesterday's racing, and how it's turned out, we didn't race today, so we ended up on top. But it was really tough racing, and incredibly close. On the water, up and down, shifty conditions, puffy. It was challenging.
So, Don, you guys have done a few rodeos before. What was it like this morning?
It's always a bit stressful when you sit around waiting for the breeze. And
you have the weather forecasts of the top weather forecasters in the world, and you're still
we have clouds sitting in Australia, and and Andrea showed us a map last night that was all red, and I thought it meant it was going to be a really hot day, but apparently that means it's going to blow like stink, which it did. But we were keen to get out there and race. We like sailing in a breeze as a team, and so we were, we talked about it last night. We came here this morning hoping to go yachting because we're comfortable in a breeze, but unfortunately it didn't play out for us. So we'll take it.
We'll take it. Let's have a quick look at some of the images of your successes and great moments. This was the moment, of course, when you heard the news we weren't going racing today, and confirmed that you are double champions, circuit champions, and the Rolex TP52 world champions. I mean, a few of your key members of the team. We've got Josh Jr. coming in this year, young blood.
Yeah, we don't want too much young blood, as older guys. We like to keep the young guys out a little bit. No, we had a change this year, and we actually had quite a big change in Monohull in the second event, where Honda, our team manager, the Japanese boys didn't come because they're actually at home sailing with Mr. Okura on the 40-footer. But we've had a few changes. It's good to get young guys like Josh Jr. on board. He's a talented sailor in so many different ways, and tactically, big guy, good grinder, good fin sailor.
Francesco Bruni, pretty handy.
Yeah, funny that, eh? No, he was really good.
But what I'm saying is, there's been a lot of changes through the season, and you've dealt with them, and it's become your strengths, I think.
Yeah, I think we have dealt with it well. We had Adam for the first one as the tactician, and Francesco.
Quick word for Adam then, he's got to be watching, eh?
Yeah. I mean, Adam did a great job, and we won the first regatta, and I'm sure he was sorry that he couldn't come back and do the last 2 regattas. So he's been watching from Australia, and I think he's been staying up through the night watching. We've been getting text messages all during the day, and and then Francesco stepped in, and he's done a fantastic job as well. And it's been a pleasure sailing with Francesco. He's an awesome sailor, as everyone knows, and it was a great experience.
We asked him what his communication line was with you, and he said, "I scream, Murray executes." But I mean, yeah, that seems to have worked well. But let's have a quick look. This was the champagne moment on the dock just a few minutes ago when the sled team started their celebrations.
What a tactician, he says.
Yeah.
Oh, the helmsman got nailed, didn't he?
He did. A few words about Mr. Akura then. Obviously he couldn't be here. I mean, massive credit to him for putting the platform in place, putting the team in place and making sure that the boat still raced.
Yeah, look, it's, you know, we're very grateful for Mr. Akura to give us the opportunity. Yeah, and I think he's really enjoys our team, the team environment, and he's really proud of the team that he's created over the last 6 or 7 years now of sailing TP52. So for us, it's a fortunate thing to be able to be here and racing, and hopefully he appreciates the effort the boys have put in for him.
Indeed, but he steers the boat at an extremely high level. He's got massive experience going back to all the IR days and the Far 40.
Yeah, Mr. Akura, he's a really good helmsman and steers the boat very well. And you know, we proved that a couple of years ago in Porto when we won a lot of races and won the regatta there. And I felt, you know, during this regatta, we would have done equally as well with Mr. Akura helming the boat rather than me.
It was that balance of his experience and being with the team for so long, and you having to step in at the very last minute.
I had to step in and learn how to drive a TP52.
It's a while since you'd steered a boat before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it has
So what was that like in the early days in Portals when you had to step into the boat and steer for the first time?
Well, you know, I mean, I've done a lot of sailing in my day, so it didn't take too long to get, you know, the basics right, but it still takes a little bit to refine it and be able to do it smoothly through the whole race.
But I also think Murray, you know, in the past has been our strategist, which is one of his great strengths. And I just feel for us with Francesco or Adam and Murray together as a combination is really, really strong. And so we had to change our setup a little bit, where we brought, you know, Jeremy Lomas, who's normally our bowman's quite a handy yachty as well, so we brought him back to do the runners and have a little bit of input into the tactical side of it, because we tried to stop Murray looking around, which is quite difficult. Actually, they call him the peacock, and he kept looking around a little bit, but I think as a combination change for Mr. Akura, it was really good.
A little bit about your setup then. You've been quick across the wind range, you feel, or your strength is in when the breeze is up? I mean, certainly going back to Porto Cervo, you had that speed edge then. The fleet has converged, I think, in terms of settings since then. What's your evaluation?
Massively. I think Porto Cervo was an example of us having quite an edge in the breeze. We felt quite comfortable again yesterday in the breeze, but the class just every year gets closer and closer, and more difficult to find a little edge in any area. But we struggled at times this year in certain conditions where we felt we weren't competitive at all. But I think what we managed to do is when we weren't competitive, we still managed to have a fifth or a sixth or a seventh, not a really bad one, which makes a difference at the end of the day.
And what's your kind of plans for the closed season in terms of developments? What could be done? Where do you think we're looking at developments?
Oh, I wouldn't want to tell you that, Andy. That would be giving a couple of secrets away. But
in terms of the circuit as a whole, who's
I think we certainly missed not doing much sailing this year. We didn't do anything until we did a 5 or 6 day session before Portals, and there's certainly boats that we've seen make improvements in speed. So we're going to need to do some work in the off season for sure.
Your thoughts, Murray?
Yeah, I mean, just jumping straight into it without, you know, more training, and well, it was difficult for us, and you know, we hadn't really done any development for this year in other areas of the boat, because it was such an uncertainty whether the season was going to go ahead at all, you know. So yeah, now we'll sit down and sort of debrief this season and see where we go for next year.
What's at the heart of this team? What's the abiding philosophies?
I think we have a really cool team culture. We have the Japanese boys, and we have a very mixed crew of different nationalities, but we are quite tight.
You appear to have fun.
Oh, for sure.
Visibly.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things for any team, in my opinion, is if you don't enjoy each other's company, it's not going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not having a lot of fun, you don't really want to do it every day. Where I think we you know, we have a great chef in Vinny, and we go home we go to the villa every night for dinner, and we sit down and have a chat and a few beers, and I think it's pretty relaxed and it's fun.
How do you evaluate some of the other teams who have been pushing you this year, Murray in particular? I mean, we say it's so incredibly even through the fleet, but just give us a little bit of an insight into how you evaluate the other teams.
Oh, I mean, it's so close, really. You know, I think Phoenix has sailed exceptionally well, and you know, incredibly unlucky not to be on the podium.
You feel for them yesterday, even though it's to your benefit. I mean, we've all been there in different classes, different times.
So close, you know. They blew out the Spinnaker in the first race yesterday, and that definitely would have made a difference being on the podium or not, and maybe even winning. So, but you know, I think if you asked any of the teams, they would all have their stories of certain races where they could have, should have, would have, and
no, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always that thing when it is so close. There's only a point in it here or there. Are you looking at yesterday and going, well, you know, for example, Platoon going up the middle when the left and the right were both playing? Are you looking at that? Or are you looking back to the 3 penalties in the first day? I mean, you guys you've been in that position as well, being so close to the podium at the end of the season.
We certainly had the same thing in the World Championships in Cascais a couple of years ago, where we blew our same sail out, and it cost us getting on the podium. We finished 4th, like Phoenix. But there's plenty of teams. You know, I think every team here has their chance of being on the podium, and it's one of those things where you just got to make sure the mistakes are only little ones.
Indeed. I mean, obviously, Don, you've been in the class for a long, long time. What are your thoughts on the class and where it needs to develop and go? I mean, the key is the owner-drivers to a great extent, isn't it? Like Mr. Akura, like Doug DeVos, who's the top owner-driver this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the class wouldn't be here without the owner-driver part of it. And for us, I think the owner-driver, it's a mix. The owners love to sail in the best class in the world, with the best sailors in the world, and
Indeed.
I think that's what this class brings.
You would imagine in that circumstance that Doug DeVos is not too disappointed to be beaten by somebody who's won the America's Cup 5 times.
Well,
it's unique, isn't it, in the sport?
It'd be like being able to jump in a Formula 1 race car and drive against the best drivers in the world. So I think that is a very special part of the 52 class, and it's certainly, I think, a part that Mr. Okura enjoys as being here racing in the best class, but also the closest racing you could ever get, and in a keelboat and in a fixed keelboat. So I think that's unique.
Good, well done. Anyway, congratulations to both of you. It's been a great season and fantastic to watch. Now listen, we're not supposed to, but we had a little bit of a bet behind closed doors between a few of us. Nobody picked sled. So, well, it's not that many. Money, right? So you get the money. There you go. That'll start you off for.
That'll get around tonight.
That'll get around in for you.
Might start this afternoon, actually. Well, thank you. Now, but we're allowed to see who people did pick, so we can.
No, we're not, because we get shot for that.
What did you pick, mate?
I'll tell you later. But. Yeah, let's finish off quickly looking at the standings. We're going to bring in Guillermo Parada in just a few seconds, I hope, to give us his analysis for the season. But there you go. Sled on 30 points, Quantum Racing on 31, Platoon on 31 as well, 32 points for Phoenix, Allegra 42, Brunanasek 43, Interlodge 53, Provezza 54, Gladiator in 59, and Code Zero, our one-time guests this season, finishing up in 10th. They started well, but unfortunately inexperience, I think, in the class cost them in the stronger breeze. And as I just said, we've got Sled then winning the circuit title, the same order on the circuit as in the World Championship. Sled 74, Quantum Racing 75, Platoon 76, Phoenix on 79, Allegra 85, 94 for Brennasek, 110 for Provezza, Interlodge 123, and Gladiator in 9th on 142. So, as I said, Guillermo Parada joining us, our expert. Gigi, your evaluation, first of all, of that win for Sled. I mean, it was incredibly close yesterday, but they did it.
Yeah, for sure it was very good, I think, for the fans, for the circuit, for the sailing community to have a new winner in the class. It's been so close for many years, but for one reason or the other one, there has been only 2 winners in the circuit so far. So having a third one, I think it's very good. It's showing everyone everyone that you can win it if you do things better than the other ones. So it's good. First win for them, and I think it was well deserved. We all feel sorry a little bit for Phoenix, the way they blown their kite yesterday. For sure that will have changed the overall result. But I'm sure that if you talk to any of the boats, they all have their share of problems, and also looking after your equipment and making sure it won't fail. It's part of the game. So obviously very sorry for them. That's what it is. And at the end, Sled won, and they deserve it. So good for them.
What do you put down the Sled win down to in particular? It's the full package, obviously, but what stood out for you with that team?
I think that they were showing signals of very good potentials in several conditions over the past few years, but for some reasons they were not able to put it all together. They had a good beginning of the season here in Portals. They won by a fair margin. They won a couple races and they were looking good. Then in Mahon, they changed the tacticians. They seemed to be suffering a little bit, but here they were not consistent in terms of having average results, but they won 3 races out of the 8, and they didn't struggle that much in the other ones. Yesterday they looked like they missed a very good opportunity in their first race of the day when they were running in second ahead of their opposition, and at the end of the second bit, I've been talking to Keko Bruni. He was a little bit conservative. He didn't want to win one of the corners. He just wanted to be in the mix and protect the starboard side. And then they missed. I mean, they lost 3-4 positions in the last 200 meters in the approach to the second top mark and cost them a lot. So Keiko just told me that they learned from that mistake. In the second race, they were coming from behind. They play for the right hard. They win that corner. Yesterday was one of those days that, regardless of which side you decide, you need to play it hard and make sure that you were among the leaders of your side, and then hope that your side was the good one. But yesterday, even with the shifty conditions in many races, the first 2-3 spots were won by the first one on the left, the first one from the right, then the second one on the left, and then the second one on the right. So the only lesson learned yesterday is that the middle of the course was not the place to be. As
Platoon found out to their cost, unfortunately. But I mean, it's woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, you've known disappointed. You've known the feelings that Slide have at the moment as champions. What's the kind of debrief for the teams in terms of that risk? Are they looking at these 1 points here and there, or are they looking at the big, in this case, in this season, the big losses in the early part of the season? The penalty, Platoon came away with 3 penalties. Phoenix, had 2 or 3 bad starts back to back.
Yeah, for sure. The first thing that you need to put on the table is that you need to avoid losing the points that you can manage.
Yeah.
So those ones are the gear. So you can always make a step or make a decision to make a little bit safer, a little bit heavier, a little bit more safety in here or there, maybe losing half a second here or half a second there, but making sure that your stuff doesn't break. That's something that you can manage. And then avoiding penalties, it's another thing that you can also manage. So penalties or OCSs. Then obviously racing and maneuvers, obviously. In racing, it's more unpredictable, so you need to, I mean, there's methods, you can have systems or you have ways of thinking to position yourself compared to the opposition, but racing, once you're racing, you need to take your chances, and sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. For sure, you need to measure the amount of risk that you want to put in your decisions, but that's something that is unpredictable. The first good step that you can make is making sure that you minimize to the minimum the breakages, the penalties, and the OCSs. That's a good beginning. Then if you have a good fast boat, a consistent maneuverings, and decent tactics, you are already in good shape to be a title contender. Then if you have your week, your season, you end up winning. We were lucky enough to win it 4 times over the last 7-8 seasons. So we know how does it feel to win, and we know how does it feel to lose, because we lost it.
I remember
also a couple of times by very small margins, and then of course you it's impossible. You don't remember in that situation. We lost 1 point here. We lost, but reality is that everyone lost positions or points anywhere. So you can only think about yourself and making sure that you minimize your losses. And whenever you are in 6th position, try to be at least 6th or 5th. Try to go. You need to. This class is so unique because you need to be fighting point by point. And believe it or not, it has the same importance to finish 5th when you are coming 6th rather than winning a race when you're coming second.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's only one point of difference and can make you win or lose the season. So you always need to remember that when you are in 6th, your position is valuable and you only need to try to be 5th. Once you are 5th, you reconsider your situation and see how much risk you need to take to try to get 4th compared to what you have behind. And that's how you plan the whole season.
Talk about next season a little bit, just in general terms. It's been so close. What do the teams have to do through the winter in terms of development? Or
well, we went through some of the things that you need to avoid for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other topic we mentioned is that you need to be fast in order to be competitive and give your driver, tactician, and all of your afterguard a winning tool. So obviously the boat needs to be in very good shape. Now it's time to work on the rig improvements, hydro improvements. How is your rudder and keel package working compared to the opposition? Every team for sure has an area where they feel very strong and areas where they feel weak. So every team will be making different analysis, but you need to revise all your hydro package. You need to revise your aero package, which is where you can make differences.
We will be announcing where we're going next year, but how much does that influence at this stage how you look at your sail package? We're going to 2 venues in the Atlantic, for example.
For sure a lot, because the first thing you have to take care is that you are going to the Atlantic and you are going to have good breeze and good waves. So that's not only wind, but also the sea state. So in that regard, the hydro package can make a lot of difference. On Azurra, we changed our hydro package completely, redesigned our hydro package from 18 to 19th, and that proved to be a big,
conclusive, wasn't it?
A big improvement for us. We were able to win the 19th season, and I think that part of that was by our new package that gave us a lot of advantage of the starting line in unstable conditions, and I think that we took benefit of that. So I know that some of the teams are already working on that. The other thing is that with the new technology developed by the America's Cup with the structural laugh jibs, most of the teams are going to be working on that. It is also true that having a fixed weight and fixed CG for the rigs, the advantage of that technology is not as big as it could be, because most of the gains are basically the forestay load is shared by the sail and the forestay, so you can go smaller on the forestay and you can maybe have also a lighter rig, which is not the case in the 52. Mm-hmm. But some of the advantages are still there, so for sure it is room for improvement. This was a different or a unique season because with only 3 events, mm-hmm. and if you measure the season itself, we had 30 races scheduled for the season. For one way or the other, for some reason, we were only managed to do 18 races mm-hmm. over the season. So that's very hard to have bad races, and it's very hard to have a side program to development program. When we had seasons of 5 or 6 events, on event 1 and event 2, we were also running the racing, and we were running a development program that we were probably going to be putting it on the water on regatta number 4 or regatta number 5, or even for the last regatta of the season. So on all the training days, we're testing and proving some new ideas or new equipment and developing it until we were sure about that, and we were measuring it, and we were putting it on the boat and put it there. This season was different. There was no time to do that. You need to go and deliver. So it's use what you know it's working, making sure you focus yourself on the racing, not make mistakes, and get the results today. This is where I think some of the teams failed this year, and they were title contenders that they didn't deliver as expected. So I'm almost sure that all of the teams have learned from that lesson, and they will improve for next year, and also with another normal season of 5 events, 2 of them on the Atlantic, it will be a completely different story.
Indeed. So, Guille, it's been fantastic to have you in the commentary booth over the course of this regatta and part of the last one. But obviously, your natural habitat is out there on the race course. I really hope we'll see you back out there. I know that you want to win the circuit title again, the World Championship again. So the best of luck with your projects, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for the invitation. I certainly enjoyed here, but I really hope that it's the last time I do this.
We'll see you hopefully in different colours, perhaps next year on the race course. But just to confirm that Sled Takashi Akura's team won the ROLEX TP52 World Championship and the 52 Super Series 2021 title today. No racing, unfortunately, because of because it was too windy out on the Bay of Palma. And a very happy team, very happy owner, and very popular win. So thank you so much for watching us over the course of this regatta, over the course of the season. We'll be back in May next year. Watch the social media channels and the media channels in general. We're going to post the details of where we're going to be going and when. We'll see you next year. Have a good winter.